Good afternoon and welcome to today's daily devotional on Wednesday, June 23rd. We're continuing our series in our Acts study. Today we're talking about Acts chapter 20. It's a pretty interesting passage there. There's Paul, first of all, he's speaking and traveling to different locations and different places there. There's a miracle that occurs, the miracle with Eutychus, where as a young boy who was listening to Paul preach late into the night, and falls asleep and actually falls out of a three-story window there and dies, and the miracle that Paul brings him back to life. What I want to focus on, though, is actually in the latter part of chapter 20, with Paul is speaking to the Ephesian elders there, and he talked about several things. The one passage I'm going to lift up is a simple one, by no means a summary, but just kind of a snapshot. This is Acts 20, verse 25, and it says, this is Paul speaking, "And now I know that none of you, among whom I have gone about proclaiming the kingdom, will ever see my face again." Kind of an interesting passage. In other words, he's saying, you're never going to see me again. And I got to confess, the first time I read that passage, I took it as a bit of a challenge from Paul, saying, hey, look, you're never going to see me again. Maybe that's the case, but what I found interesting was what he says after that that's so important. And he starts to summarize what he says after that was, guys, first he encourages the elders there to say, look, keep watch over yourselves and your flock. There's going to be dangers ahead. And we want to care for each other and care for the people whom we serve. And then he talks about commending to each of them God's message of grace, how important God's grace is for you and for me in our journey together. And he closes with the words of Jesus, as it is more blessed to give than to receive. The importance of our giving nature, of ourselves, our times, our talents, our abilities, our offerings, all the different ways that we can give and making a difference for others and in the world there. See, because Paul realizes in these moments as he visits these different places, he may never see these people again, but not in a negative way. He wanted to impart to them what was most important to the people and what was on his heart as his calling as a traveler and preaching God's word there. And as I was reflecting on this passage, I was just thinking about our family vacation. We literally just got back from on Monday there. We were in Colorado with the family for a week. We had never been there. It's a place we'd never visited. And probably not a place that we'll visit again, not in any bad way, but it's just not a place that we go frequently would visit there. But I've got to say, we had a beautiful, fun, and memorable time. We were up in the mountains there in Montrose and Ouray and Mesa Verde area and got to see all these beautiful sights. And I found it interesting. We were treating each moment when we would visit these different sites in these different towns like we would never be back in this place again, in a good way, that we would try to savor the moment or take that picture, engage with the locals and share some stories there, whatever it may be, to have those moments to really enjoy. And as I was reflecting on our trip and these words of Paul, what he was sharing with the elders there, for you and I think one of the realities is we have a habit of making a lot of plans in life. And that's a good thing. It's important for us to plan and to dream and to prepare and to organize. And here's, I know for us planning the next family vacation or the next thing going on in our ministry or our different conversations we might have with people there. But sometimes we can find ourselves postponing things, right? Putting it off and not getting to it. And so the challenge I think I raise for myself and offer to you today is this: what if we treated our days, each one of them, like they were the last ones to encounter that person or that situation? Think about Paul. He was realizing these might be the last conversations he has with these particular people in these communities and really wanted to impart something special there. So for you and I, what about our encounters with other individuals or groups or moments that we might have? How might we say things differently if we think this is maybe the last time we share with them? Or what's most important that we hope that they remember from this encounter or from this moment, or what we might impart to them? And my prayer for you this week is this, is that you and I might continue to make the plans in our lives. That's important. That's what we do. But in addition to those plans, also to treat these times in our life when we encounter others, when we encounter special moments, that it might be that last time to experience that and to share what is on our heart in that moment there. Not knowing what the future is going to bring or if we might have another moment to encounter with that individual or that time to share, but remembering God's love, remembering God's grace that's there for you, for the other individual, for that encounter and for that moment, and for each of us as we walk this journey of life together. So until we meet again, may God continue to hold you in the palm of God's hand.